to be an athlete, you almost have had to train yourself in several different ways. You have to determine how much time is needed to put towards your academics. You know the time that's expected in athletics. But the supports are there to help those players. Division I women's basketball is full scholarship. So every player on our team has a full scholarship. So whether they live off campus or live off campus, they still get that money. Now your other women's sports or men's sports on campus, some of them are not full scholarships. So those are ones where the players have to come up with other scholarship money or maybe pay to play those, to help them pay for school during playing those sports. And the one thing the NCAA did institute, and I'm not really sure how many years ago, is what's called cost of attendance. So our players do receive a certain stipend each month on top of their scholarship based on the cost of attendance, and that's determined by a scale that the university and the NCAA come up with. So there are some things that are in place for those players. I'm kind of old school, and there's a lot of perks to playing college basketball. I mean, the gear, the travel, the meals that, they get unlimited meals in the cafeteria. Just, there's so many perks that they get. And I guess you can kind of make a decision. Do you want to play sports in college, or do you want to work to pay your way through college? So I think it's kind of a choice.
The scholarship is broken up into four main parts, and that is your tuition and fees, your room, your housing, your meal plan, and then your books. They've recently added cost of attendance, which is a federally figured number that's above and beyond that covers things like transportation or supplies or some of those other things that your scholarship doesn't cover. Again, this is all up to coaches' discretions at each individual team. The only restriction that the NCAA puts on employment is that the student athlete has to actually do the work, and that they have to be paid the regular going rate for that work. So if a student athlete gets a job waiting tables or working at Walmart or something like that, be just fine. What you don't want is the student, say working at a car dealer and getting paid $100 an hour to wash cars, or something that would not be a regular going rate for that type of work. We fund all of our sports to the maximum allowable NCAA limits. So there's really no more that Murray State's athletic department can do for our students as far as giving them the funding that they need. They're all funded at the maximum, whatever those limits are per sport, and those change per sport like we talked about. But the other kind of couple of things that the NCAA does to help students that maybe have financial need, one of them is called the Pell Grant, and the Pell Grant's a federally funded grant that's available for any students. But when we're talking about student athletes, that does not go against their limit, and so they can receive that additional grant and money to help pay for some of their bills, and it won't count against the team.
Well, aside from cross country, I was working at the CFSB Center. I was working every home basketball game, and also like the trade shows, the fishing stuff, anything that came through there, concerts, which that was fun. But also for parts of the season, I was coaching, at Murray High and Murray Middle as well. So it was busy. I had a lot on my plate. It was almost impossible sometimes. Actually, I remember I was renting an apartment right off 5 Points at the time, and I was doing cross country. I started off, I went to UK for a little bit, and I came back, and a big part of that was because I wanted to run. I did it in high school and missed it. So when I came back, I got that apartment over there. I had to get a job to pay for it. And so balancing that, school, and attempting to have a social life at the same time, it was very difficult. I remember sitting in my car sometimes just like wondering how I was gonna make rent that much, even though it was only like $275 a month, which that doesn't sound like anything nowadays, but back then, I didn't know how I was going to do it sometimes, but kind of look back fondly on it now.